All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to this explainer where we're going to embark on a seriously fascinating journey. Today we're unpacking an epic psychodrama. But, this isn't happening on a stage or in a movie. It's a story of internal conflict happening right now, literally at this very moment, inside your own mind. We're basing this on the incredibly groundbreaking research of Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. And we're going to take a really close look at the invisible forces that shape our judgments, our silly errors, and basically all of our everyday choices.
To see this mental machinery in action, I want us to take a super quick test. I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't want you to actively try to solve it. Just listen to your gut, okay? A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs exactly $1 more than the ball. So how much does the ball cost? Just notice the very first number that instantly pops into your head.
I'm guessing a number came to you immediately, right? And I bet that number is 10 cents. Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is how incredibly appealing that answer is. It feels intuitive, it feels totally right, and it was served up completely effortlessly by your fast-thinking brain. But there's just one tiny major problem with it. It's completely wrong. The actual correct answer is 5 cents. Think about it for a second. If the ball costs 5 cents, the bat costs $1 more, which makes it $1.05. Add those two together, and boom, you get $1.10. If the ball cost 10 cents, the whole thing would be $1.20. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the core tension we're exploring today. Your mental autopilot, as unbelievably fast and confident as it is, can be so easily tripped up by simple math.
And that little math trip-up brings us directly to our source material, Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Kahneman basically presents the human mind as the theater featuring two very different, completely fictional characters. By getting to know these two systems, we can finally map out exactly how our fleeting impressions and feelings harden into our concrete beliefs, and how our sudden impulses turn into real-world actions. It's a duality of thought that literally governs everything we do.
So imagine two distinct characters sitting across from each other in your head. First, we have System 1. This is the automatic system. It's fast, associative, highly emotional, and it operates with little to no effort. Then, sitting opposite is System 2. This is the conscious, reasoning self. It's highly deliberative, and it allocates your attention to effortful mental tasks. But here's the catch. System 2 is inherently lazy. We really like to identify with System 2. We love believing we're the ones in control, rationally weighing options. But the truth? The automatic, impulsive System 1 is actually the hidden hero driving the vast majority of our daily reactions.
Okay, to prove just how powerful System 1 really is, I want you to hear two words. Ready? Bananas, vomit. In just a fraction of a second, a whole lot just happened to you. Your brain immediately linked those two completely unrelated concepts together. You probably experienced some unpleasant images, your face might have even slightly twisted into an expression of disgust, and your heart rate might have ticked up. That was all completely automatic. It was entirely beyond your conscious control. System 1 instantly fired off a physical and emotional response before your conscious System 2 even realized what was going on.
That's because System 1 is absolutely relentless. It acts like what Kahneman calls a mental shotgun. It's constantly computing way more information than we actually intend to. Think about it. Whenever your eyes are open, it is effortlessly computing 3D spaces around you. It's detecting the slightest hint of hostility in someone's voice. It's reading giant text on a billboard you're driving past, or it's answering 2 plus 2. It fires this wide, unfocused blast of processing power that is constantly evaluating your environment without you ever having to ask it to.
So the crucial thing to understand is how System 1 makes sense of the world when it only has limited information to work with. Kahneman uses this fantastic acronym, WYSITI. What you see is all there is. Imagine a broken pencil lying on a desk, but you can only see the two-pointed ends. Your brain naturally assumes it's a whole unbroken pencil. System 1 excels at doing exactly this. It constructs a perfectly coherent, unbroken story from just fragments of incomplete data. To System 1, if a piece of information isn't immediately retrieved from memory, well, it might as well not even exist.
Now you might be wondering, why does this actually matter? Well, it matters because this YCIAT glitch causes some pretty massive biases. It makes us highly overconfident, it makes us jump to wild conclusions, and it triggers things like the halo effect. For example, if I ask you, hey, will Mindic be a good leader? She's intelligent and strong. Your System 1 immediately screams, yes, absolutely. I mean, intelligent and strong makes a great story, right? But what if the very next two words I was about to say were corrupt and cruel? System 1 doesn't wait around for more information. It just confidently builds the best possible story it can from whatever tiny bit of evidence is currently visible.
Okay, let's pivot for a second to see how these systems actually affect our choices, particularly when it comes to behavioral economics. Here's another quick interactive test for you. Imagine you're offered a gamble on a simple coin toss. If it lands on tails, you lose $100. But if it lands on heads, you win $150. Do you accept the gamble? Logically, the expected value is entirely positive. You literally stand to gain more than you lose. But pay attention to how intensely your brain probably just rejected that gamble. For most of us, the fear of losing that $100 is screaming way louder than the potential joy of winning $150.
That intense feeling brilliantly illustrates the concept of loss aversion. If you were to map this out on a graph, you'd see a really abrupt, steep drop-off the second you dip into the negative. Biologically speaking, our brains treat threats as far more urgent than opportunities. It's like putting a small stone of a gain on a balance scale and then putting an identically sized stone of a loss on the other side. But the loss is made of solid lead. It just pulls the scale right down. Losses simply, fundamentally, loom larger than gains.
So how in the world do we actually overcome this biological negativity dominance? Well, Kahneman points out that it all comes down to how we frame our decisions. There's narrow framing, which is when you view a sequence of simple decisions completely separately. Doing that means you feel the sharp emotional sting of every single isolated loss. But then there's broad framing. This is taking a comprehensive, bird's-eye view of the situation. It's exactly what seasoned investors do. Interestingly, when subjects in an experiment were instructed to just think like a trader and view their choices as part of a much larger portfolio, their actual physiological emotional reactions to losing were sharply reduced. By broad framing, they successfully woke up their deliberative system too.
Yet even with that trick, we have to recognize a pretty humbling reality about our own minds. System 2 is very often more of an apologist for the emotions of System 1 than an actual critic of them. As the psychologist Jonathan Haidt famously put it, the emotional tail wags the rational dog. Think about that. System 1 jumps to a lightning-fast, associative, emotional conclusion, and our lazy System 2 basically just scrambles to search our memory for presentable, logical-sounding reasons to justify what we've already emotionally decided we want to do anyway.
Which leaves us with a final kind of provocative thought to wrap up this explainer. We are constantly caught between our remembering self, the one that keeps score of the past, and our experiencing self, the one that is actually living in the present moment. These two selves are in this constant, shifting conflict, totally guided by the unseen push and pull of System 1 and System 2. So the big takeaway I want to leave you with today is this. The next time you make a choice, take a step back and ask yourself, which self and which system is actually making the decisions in your life right now?